Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. The BTCC is back and in its first couple of race weekends. But let's take a look back at the last 15 years and see who has won the first race of every year since 2006 and how they did in the subsequent championship. Did they take the crown or did they shoot their load too early? Sit back, relax and let's begin.
Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
2006, James Thompson. Well, a former champion won the first two races for Seat, but James Thompson didn't fully commit to the series. Thompson would take just one other win that year, but missed 12 races to race for Seat in the World Touring Car Championship. It's a shame because he would have been a contender if he had stayed, but ended up not winning either series, finishing 8th overall in World Touring Cars, and somehow would still manage to finish 6th overall in the British Touring Cars despite missing all those races. But Matt Neal would win the title in the Honda Integra. 2007, Jason Plato. Again, a former champion won the first two races driving a Seat, but at least Jason Plato stayed around for the whole year. He'd take a total of 6 wins that year, but would lose out to the eventual champion Fabrizio Giovanardi by just 3 points. Jason Plato has won more BTCC races than anyone, but really hasn't won as many championships as he should have. Well, he missed this one by a gnat's pube. So close and yet so far. 2008, Fabrizio Giovanardi. Finally a champion who won the first race. Actually, again, he won the first two, so maybe that's just the done thing in touring cars. This was the second of Giovanardi's titles for Vauxhall, and he took this one in dominant fashion, beating Matt Jackson by 36 points, despite not scoring anything at the final round of the championship. This is one of the many touring car titles Giovanardi won in his long, illustrious career. 2009, Matt Neal. I wondered when Matt Neal would make it onto this list. I had completely forgotten he drove for Vauxhall as late as this, but it was not a great year for the man who has spent 30 years in the British touring cars and nearly 700 race starts. This would be his only win of the year, as he fell to 4th place in the overall championship hunt, some 100 points off eventual champion Colin Turkington in his RAC BMW. He's had better years since. 2010, Fabrizio Giovanardi. Well, the second time he's made it on the list, and once again he won the first 2 races in a Vauxhall, but funding for the team wasn't found and Giovanardi didn't take part in the rest of the year. Despite only taking part in 3 races, he still managed 14th in the championship, just 10 points behind Tom Boardman, who raced the whole year, and ahead of David Pinkney, who also raced the whole year, which is pretty embarrassing. 2011, Jason Plato. Jason Plato really should have been champion in 2011 for Chevrolet. He won the first 2 races of the year, along with another 6, but didn't just lose out to Matt Neal, he didn't even come second, losing out to Gordon Shedden as the Halfords Honda team dominated first and second. There aren't many people in any championship who could win 8 races and still not win the top prize, but Jason Plato is that guy. And maybe it's that uncompromising, no-holds-barred driving style that means he has won more races than anyone else, but is still just a double champion. 2012, Rob Collard. I think Rob Collard is a favourite of every touring car fan. From humble beginnings as a Class B Nissan Primera driver in the year 2000, to winning races with BMW for most of the last decade. I think he's one of the best touring car drivers never to be champion. Well, he won the first race of 2012, but after an action-packed year, could climb no higher than 5th overall, with 105 point deficit behind champion Shedden. 2013, Jason Plato. The 3rd time he makes the list, and a 3rd time where he didn't end up winning the championship, even after taking another 8 wins. This time losing out to Andrew Jordan and Gordon Shedden, although all 3 were separated by just 17 points in a close, exciting finish. Plato, this time in a MG, would never reach 8 wins in a year again after this, but did add Subaru and Volkswagen to the long list of cars he's raced in the British touring cars. 2014, Andrew Jordan. This seemed like the perfect way to defend your championship, take the first 2 wins and go from there. Andrew Jordan only finished 5th that year in his Honda Civic, a long way behind eventual champion Colin Turkington. He wouldn't come close to winning another championship until 2019, but he has won more races than his dad, Mike Jordan. 2015, Rob Collard. Rob Collard again won the first race in 2015 for BMW, but was nowhere to be seen in the championship. He'd finished 10th overall despite taking 3 race wins. He was miles behind champion Gordon Shedden, and somehow lost out to Jack Goff. Matt Jackson only scored about 20 points less, and he only raced half a championship. This was a pretty bad year for Collard after a very promising start. 2016, Tom Ingram. This was Tom Ingram's first ever win in the British Touring Cars, and again he'd only finished 10th overall, but considering the progress he has made since then, he is a sure bet to be a future champion. He has taken 13 of Toyota's 26 British Touring Car wins, and finished a close second in 2018. He is only going to get better. 2017, Tom Ingram. And the man repeated his success a year later and finished a much more respectable 3rd overall, although some way off eventual champion Ash Sutton. Tom Ingram took 4 wins in 2017 and took his first Independence Championship, retaining it in 2018. I swear, future champion. Probably in a Toyota. 2018, Jack Goff. A driver that seemed to be on the up in 2018 was Jack Goff, and he took a win for the Eurotech team in a Honda Civic at the first race of 2018. It was always going to be difficult maintaining that over the year, but Goff seems to have gone backwards since then, finishing 8th overall in 2018 and 21st overall in 2019, although still taking a single win in a Volkswagen. The only way is back up, or disappearing completely. 2019, Josh Cook. Another independent Honda driver, this time for BTC Racing. Josh Cook may look like a fluky winner, but he does appear on the top step fairly consistently. He'd take 3 wins in 2019 and finished the year 4th overall. He was still in with a slim shout of winning the championship at the final round of the year, but no one can touch Turkington. Josh Cook is another young driver on the up, still with BTC in 2020, may result in more overall wins. 2020, Dan Camish. The Honda driver looked like he was going to be champion in 2019 if it wasn't for a brake failure at the last race towards the end of the race. But the best way to get over that is to start the next year with a bang, and Dan Camish did just that. Can he maintain it through the year? Who knows? Colin Turkington is a hard man to beat, but Dan Camish has got to be one of the favourites to take his crown. And that is the list. I am honestly surprised Colin Turkington and Gordon Shedden aren't on the list. 2 of the most winningest drivers of the last few years, but they apparently save it for later in the year. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, like, comment and subscribe, basically my mantra nowadays. Thank you for watching, enjoy the BTCC action this year, and have a good one.